to the Social Network Show, and we are going to be talking today with Monica Zent, who is an attorney, but she's also an entrepreneur, and she's also a mom, and she's also a philanthropist. So I think we've got the basic bases covered.
And not to mention an angel investor and a very, very brilliant woman who started one of the hottest social networks in the world called Foxwordy. Jim Nico here with Dr. J, and we have some questions for this dynamic guest of ours, Monica Zent, in the Monica Zent series on the Social Network Show. So, first of all, I'm dying to hear about your social network, Foxwordy, a private social network for lawyers. Please fill us in.
Hi. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Jim. Hi, Dr. J. I appreciate you guys inviting me back on the show, and it's a pleasure to be here, so thank you. And also, thank you for asking about Foxwordy. You probably heard in the news our progress has been great. We have over 4% of the U.S. legal market. We are growing fast, lots of interest throughout the U.S. and other parts of the world asking when we're going to bring Foxwordy to their countries. So it's truly resonated with, lawyers throughout the country in various segments, various geographies, across demographics, from general counsels of the top companies to partners at the top law firms, arbitrators, judges, academic law school deans, small practitioners and solo law offices. We found this has registered and resonated with them in a powerful way, allowing lawyers to, tap into the brain power of their networks and collaborate and communicate effectively and discreetly, especially leveraging our sophisticated anonymity feature in the product. So it's an exciting time, and we're going through a lot of growth, and it's a very exciting time.
Is there any way you can share with us, without giving away trade secrets or anything like that, how someone comes out of the gate, starts a social network, a private niche-oriented social network like you, and builds the following, the followers or the members? I mean, is there any secret sauce that you can make not so secret?
Yeah, that's a great question. We focus on two things at Foxwordy. I mean, we focus on both user adoption and of course, increasing our adoption rate, but we also focus on engagement. And I think it's important to focus on both. From an adoption perspective, obviously, there's no secret sauce. Our growth has been organic, and we also rely on our members. Our members are strong, and they will invite other members in their networks as well. So we've seen a lot of organic growth and viral growth that way. But then also, like I said, our focus is on engagement, and that's critical. I mean, that's how basically you had, Facebook taking down incumbents like MySpace and Friendster, at the time, who had higher rates of adoption but much lower rates of engagement. And so Facebook came in with a stronger product that resulted in higher rates of engagement, although a lower adoption rate. So that's why engagement and adoption, from my standpoint, are so critical. And as founder and CEO, as we sort of look at how do we direct our strategies from product development to marketing to other strategies, they kind of focus on those two prongs of increasing user adoption, but also increasing rates of engagement. And that means it goes down to product. It goes down to creating the best possible product experience we can for our members. And we're actively working on that every day. In fact, right now we are making some great refinements. We're redoing some design and adding some enhanced features to the product and enhancing some features that are already there to increase that engagement.
Now, could you define for us, just what is your definition of engagement? What all is included in that when you say engagement?
Oh, sure. Yeah, for your listeners. I mean, engagement, when we talk about a social network, is really how often are people using the network? How often are they coming back? Are they engaged? Are they signing in and never coming back?
Mm-hmm.
That would be low engagement. Okay. Or are they signing in and returning every day? That would be high, very high engagement.
Oh, okay.
Or are they returning multiple times a day? And so engagement really tracks, how sticky is your product? How much are you drawing your users back into the product each day, and how committed are they to using your product? And that really comes down to product execution. It comes down to that product being just right. And serving a need and drawing that member back, to the network.
What all do you think actually does that for you? How is it that you encourage users to come back frequently?
Yeah, there are no set formulas. I mean, there are certain things, notifications and sort of, there are things that will keep people sort of coming back to the product, but, there's no set formula. I mean, it really comes down to ultimately creating the best possible product out there. And the better the product is for the members in terms of what that membership base is looking for, that's going to drive higher degrees of engagement. As we all know, I mean, everybody is so inundated with, services and offerings and new services, and, everybody is sort of on digital overload. And so being able to create a product that differentiates and also displaces what somebody else might otherwise spend their precious, 5 or 15 minutes a day on, it's a very competitive market out there. And so it's looking at, what's going to suit the needs of that membership base, keep them coming back, and again, displace that 5 or 10 or 15 minutes they might otherwise spend on another product.
Well, I think that another great advantage Foxwordy has is that you are actually helping your users get their work done. Mm-hmm. It's not just a time spender, but it's focused on doing what they need to be doing, correct?
That's right. It's we are although it's a social network with a collaboration component in it. So it's basically tapping into what your network knows and what your network can share with you, but also tapping into your network for purposes of actually getting work done. Answering a question, sharing a document or a clause, exchanging an opinion on maybe a recent case, or gathering some key intelligence on sort of what are some best practices that are being kind of adhered to in this industry, or maybe regarding ever-evolving privacy law or those kinds of things. So, from an intelligence gathering perspective, it's powerful. From a collaboration and sharing perspective, it's powerful, and and ultimately that drives the ability to get work done. In this field.
Great.
Wow. It's like I could spend all day on your network because. Here we are in the Social Network Show talking about a vibrant, private, cutting-edge social network for lawyers and those involved. Now, is it exclusively lawyers? I mean, do you have to be literally a lawyer to be involved? And that's not a bad thing. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, actually, our product is designed for the legal market, so you need to be a lawyer or legal professional. So we do have individuals who have a strong nexus in the legal market who are legal professionals. And
Okay.
a good example of that may be an arbitrator. Some of them, may not necessarily be officially practicing law anymore.
Okay.
Or law professors, also very common. Or we also have folks that, have backgrounds maybe where they're expert witnesses, but they have a very strong nexus to the legal community, and they're regularly called upon as experts. And so there are certain people that, if they're, or certified paralegals, another good example. So we've got folks that are in the legal profession. There's a strong nexus to, their day-to-day work and the legal profession.
I love it. And we want to keep featuring you because that network is so powerful. And it's because you're helping lawyers. I mean, then they can pay it forward in a way because
It's true. Yeah. The savings are passed on to the client base. Absolutely.
Cool. So can you talk a little bit about, we know that you're a seasoned entrepreneur. Can you share with us some of the secrets again that might help others that are going into a field that for the first time, maybe?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I am a huge proponent of entrepreneurship in general. I think that it's if people have the sort of the inclination, they should. I always strongly recommend it. I mean, entrepreneurship it's a very powerful and liberating experience. There's a lot of freedom. There's also a lot of stress as well. So people need to be prepared for that. I've written a number of pieces on this before in magazines and so forth, and I guess drawing from, what are some key points? Some key points for any entrepreneur is I would recommend is first is, be prepared that it's going to be a tough journey. Is sort of get mentally prepared for that or mentally psyched up for that. I'm a strong believer that half of everything is mental, if not more. Any kind of pursuit of any kind that's challenging, whether it's a sport, and I've been an athlete for many years, or whether it's, an entrepreneurial endeavor, half of it is mental. Half of it is, being mentally tough enough to pursue that journey and to understand that, the journey is going to have a lot of peaks, a lot of valleys. You're going to have a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and you have to be able to weather those. And so I think the first piece of advice I would give would be, be mentally tough and be prepared, for the ups and downs of the journey. And that's really a huge part of entrepreneurship.
When you refer to tweaking the social network and your product and so forth, is that something that you had the means to hire experts to do for you? I think one of the things with entrepreneurs and startups is that often resources are scarce, and how did you handle that?
That's a great question. Yes and no. So yes, lean on experts when you can find them. I would strongly encourage, building a network of mentors, trusted experts that you can call upon, because perspective is key. I think as entrepreneurs, we have to recognize we're not always going to be, you're just not. You're not going to be expert at every single area, necessary to drive forward a successful company.
Right.
And so having enough insight about yourself to understand what are your strengths and what are your areas of weakness. And, your areas of weakness, you've got to surface those, and then you seek out, the strategy that I adopted, you seek out, advisors or mentors in areas in which you are not strong. And then, call upon those people, and listen to their advice. And they may give you different advice. You may get different advice from all let's say you have 3 advisors in, a particular area. You may get different advice from all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you can take that advice and kind of filter it, synthesize what resonates or is most useful to you, and then apply that. But, yes, I'm a huge proponent of talking to experts, relying on that feedback, but then also applying that as a founder, applying that to your company. Sometimes advice can be given out of context. Sometimes it can take you off track. And so staying focused and understanding, knowing enough about what your vision is and synthesizing that advice to apply appropriately to your vision.
Okay, great. In our second half of the show, we'd like to talk with you about how women can counterbalance some of the gender issues and so forth in business settings. I'm Jane Karwoski with my co-host Jim Nico, and you're listening to the Social Network Show. Our guest is Monica Zent of Foxwordy.com.
Questions? Comments? Email us at questions@thesocialnetworkshow.com. We'll be right back.
As internet technology advances, so does the threat of cybercrime. And the instant you go online, you become vulnerable to dangers such as identity theft, computer viruses, phishing, spyware, and more. In times like these, we must all protect ourselves from cybercrime. Antivirus software, firewalls, and security patches are just the beginning. Never open suspicious emails. Only navigate to trusted sites and change your passwords every 90 days. Back up important files to external storage devices. Tell anyone who uses your computer to be vigilant when downloading from the internet. Keep your kids safe on the internet. Teach them never to give out personal information or post information about their school or extracurricular activities. Installing parental control software and monitoring their computer are all good ways to prevent cybercrime. To learn more about cybercrime, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Now, back to the Social Network Show.
Welcome back to the Social Network Show, where Jim Nico and I are chatting with Monica Zent. Well, Monica, you've talked about Foxwordy and entrepreneurship in general. As a woman, I'd like to know what strategies you feel are useful to women when they come against someone playing the gender card, you might say, in business meetings or settings and so forth. Can you expound on that a bit?
Sure, yeah. So, I've been in business for many years as a woman, competing, alongside men very successfully, and so I certainly have, weathered